Mason is our Lisa Molosky. Lisa, take it away.
Thanks, Drew. Coach, the Jayhawks did some things well in the first half, but as you know very well, it is always tough to play Nebraska.
Well, you know, their offense has been struggling by Nebraska standards, and Frost looks like a all-pro out there today. And, you know, we made some mistakes. We did some good things. I think we scored the first touchdown on in about 4 games, but they're an awful good ball club, and we made way too many mistakes, and we're way behind, and we got a half to go, and we always pride ourselves that we never give up. We play hard, and that's what we intend to do.
Well, good luck. Thanks for stopping. Back to you, Drew, Dave.
A gracious Glenn Mason. The Jayhawks will get the football to begin the second half, and that'll skid through the end zone. Chris Brown has not allowed Kansas really to return the football. Let's check in again with the Southwest Airlines team bus for Kansas. And Dave, what's their report card?
Well, the crisis has remained a crisis. It hasn't been a whole lot of opportunity.
That's pretty accurate.
Defrost Scott, he's defrosted them. Scott Frost has played exceptionally well. They wanted him to beat him, and he has. They have been out of rhythm offensively. First play of the game, they were throwing for a 6-yard loss, running the counter. It's kind of, for the most part, been out of rhythm. Other than that, one 77-yard touchdown pass to Mr. Bird.
So in other words, there's going to be a parent-teacher conference tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Swing pass. Oh! Loose football. Galbraith loses it, and Nebraska cannot cover it. Has had an opportunity inbounds, and it went out of bounds. The big stick from Michael Booker on Eric Galbraith.
Man, book him, Dano. I'll tell you what, this is a shot. The ball it's a completion, helmet across the bow. Tremendous hit right there. And really, the hit was made by Jamel Williams at the linebacker level rather than Booker. Williams puts his helmet across the football, knocking it free, and it bounces out of bounds. Kansas retains possession, but look at Drew. They're off schedule. They lost over 10 yards on first down.
Johnner in trouble again. Swing pass the other way, and this time Galbraith drops it. And Johnner paid for that. And that's a quick release type of throw, Dave.
It really is. You know, roll a little bit, and that is right to the sternum. Wistrom, just a shot. I mean, man, that is running right through the quarterback. Johnner right now trying to decide, is this Lincoln or is it Lawrence, or do I want to be here? Or
do you know what? Somebody else might have to call the play in the huddle. I don't know if he's got his breath.
Those eyes are woozy right now. They really are. He took a shot from Frazier.
Jamal Williams with that hit a few moments ago. 28, not 20.
Right.
Michael Booker is 20. 1 of 7 tonight on third downs. The Jayhawks. It is 3rd and 20. Johnner is going to get sacked by Peter. And again, it's a 3-step drop. Ordinarily impossible to get pressure on a 3-step drop, but Nebraska, a red swarm.
Well, you know, they talk about sometimes they 2-gap to protect linebackers, and then they decide to 1-gap. Boy, they just get up the football field. Peter from the inside, the outside rush right there, also provided by, well, I guess it was Chad Kelsey.
Dean Royal, his hoofs near the back of the end zone. And this is a pretty good effort, a real good effort, in fact. Over the head of McFarland and covering the football at the 41. That is Mike Brown, and it's a pretty good play because he was unsure as to whether or not it had hit one of his teammates. So he covers it up at the 41-yard line. Great punt by Royal, a 56-yard boot. And now we get the stellar report card from the Nebraska Cornhuskers in the first half. They're Southwest Airlines.
Yes, Kansas flunked, but Nebraska gets an A+. They certainly did bring it early. They broke Kansas' spirit right away. The only self-destruction they had was fumbling the punt, but they recovered from that. Their kicking game has been extremely solid, other than the muff punt. They're doing well, and the score reflects it, 42-7.
Ahman Green, big opening. And he rips off 12 yards. Blevins and Ward combined to bring him down. He has such a quick burst. And Ahman Green now staying down.
Ahman Green, a little bit of an ankle problem. That the turf toe, I guess it was the real, but now it looks more like an ankle problem. Left ankle seems to be where he's grabbing. And let's take a look at this counter play run by Nebraska to perfection. Pull the right guard and right tackle. Guard pulls, kicks out, tackle around the horn up the football field, and they do it well. Kick out by the guard. Tackle pulls upfield, gets his block, and Green runs for the first down. There's Green's injury as he's collisioned down the football field. Turns that left ankle over.
But the good news is, and you heard the crowd react in the background, Lamont Green jogged off the field. First down for the Huskers. The new I-back is D'Angelo Evans. He had a nice first half, got in the end zone. Scott Frost underneath route. Holbein, good move. And Holbein still going to the 15-yard line. Third reception, and the first time he's caught a ball tonight without scoring a touchdown. He nearly did.
Well, the missed tackle compounded the problem. I think it was Cromartie who missed the tackle. You got to secure the play right now. It's the safety. It's Blevins. You got to make the play right there. Holbein picks up an extra 20-25 yards because Blevins cannot make the play after the catch. You know, a receiver's just like a running back. Yards after catch, yards after first contact. That time Holbein was the winner, Blevins the loser.
Two tight ends follow the fullback, D'Angelo Evans. Finally dropped inside the 10 at the 9. Ball comes loose late. They're going to say it's Nebraska football. Brendan Holbein is very typical of a Nebraska football player. He's from Cozad, Nebraska, and Holbein had scholarship offers from Wyoming and Iowa State coming out of high school, where he was a terrific player. But he decided instead to walk on at Nebraska. 40% of their two-deep rosters, former walk-ons, and Holbein, because if you grow up in this state, more than anything, you want to be a Husker.
Yep.
Here's the option. Frost will score easily. Great read on the corner. Make it 48-7 Huskers.
Well, Kansas staying with the same way to defend the option. The outside linebacker is taking the pitch man, but the inside linebacker can't scrape quickly enough to take the quarterback. The inside pursuit is not there to stop the quarterback. That time it was blocked pretty darn well. Excellent execution up front. Scott Frost's speed once again a factor, but man, Michael Allen should have made a play on that. He got caught up in the wash.
Brown again parks one between the uprights. It is 49-7. You know, if I'm ever in a crowd and I need somebody to get me out of traffic, I'm going to hire Joel Makovica. Yep. He knocks down about 2 guys every running play. All Huskers. The second half is brought to you by Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes. By Power Bar, fuel for optimum performance. And by the new Coors Light wide mouth can. Tap the Rockies with a smoother pour. Scott Frost in the end zone for the second time tonight, and he is developing respect from his teammates quickly.
Well, he's thrown for 3 and run for 2 tonight. You can't do a whole heck of a lot better than that. Maybe Tommy Frazier, the retirement of his number, inspired Scott Frost tonight.
Brown, a one-hopper through the end zone. Frost, 12 of 16, a career-high 254 yards, along with the career-high in touchdown passes of 3.
Boy, he looks like Joe Montana throwing the football and Fran Tarkenton running the football. I mean, he's just doing it all tonight. There's no question about it.
And right now, Nebraska with 305 more yards in total offense than Kansas. And Dave, that's including a 77-yard play for Kansas.
Right, that one-play drive. Coordinator Charlie McBride's nightmare, but his defense played well otherwise. Ben
Roots in the football game, and he hands off to Mark Sanders, who doesn't get much.
Well, they're staying with the game plan of trying to crease Nebraska between the tackles with the ISO a little bit, leading it up in there, but Nebraska very much up to the task.
Well, he ran into Jamel Williams, and the philosophy of Charlie McBride's defense is to occupy the defensive lineman, or the offensive lineman, and not let his linebackers get blocked.
Yep.
They make a lot of plays. Roots looks backside. He has time, and he has a nice throw complete to Isaac Bird, who pays for the reception as Brown comes in and makes the tackle. It is Mike Brown, not Ralph Brown.
Hey, Nice protection up front. Gave Roots an opportunity to throw this football. But Brown, look at that clinic. Head across the bow. Whiplash shot right there. Definitely a sure tackle. I mean, that's a training reel stuff. You know, Nebraska's defense, the ends pinch. I mean, the ends kind of collapse you. The tackles penetrate, and the linebackers run. They're tough. Right tackle moved early.
See Mike Minter, the strong safety. He was coming off the edge on a blitz. 11:33 to go in the third quarter.
Dead ball. Ball start on the offense. Still first down.
And with the score 49-7 Nebraska, we go downstairs to our close personal friend, Lisa Molosky. Lisa.
Well, thank you, Drew. Coach Mason told me at halftime that he doesn't believe his team ever gives up. But offensive coordinator Pat Rule said yesterday, if we can't create some success early, it will be tough to keep the fire alive. Here we go. Back to you, Drew.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's been a lot of schools that have come into Lincoln with that feeling. Double coverage that time on Isaac Bird. Minter helped out. And an incompletion. Pretty good initial coverage by Jerome Peterson.
Well, you're not going to Isaac or Bird. He beat him for a 77-yard touchdown. They're not going to let him line up in man coverage anymore. He's going to get attention from two people, and that time he certainly did. And nice hit by Minter, make him pay a little bit as he left his feet to make a play on the football. But, you know, beat me once in man coverage, isolating me against the true freshman, Mr. Ralph Brown. But it's not going to happen again.
Second and 15 as Sanders shifts to the strength of the formation. Blitz.
Wow.
And no chance. Off the corner, Terrell Farley.
Unblocked. Assignment error up front. I mean, you've got to be able to slide out and pick him up. I wonder if the clock expired.
You know, half the linemen didn't get out of their stance, Dave.
This will help, I guess. Basically, Nebraska, they'll decline
Delay
this
of the game on the offense. Second down.
Yeah, got to take that penalty. You can't decline it. It's a dead ball foul, so they don't get the quarterback sack. Farley gets gypped out of a quarterback sack, but the real problem is Kansas up front. I mean, you have to account for Terrell Farley. You can't let him come off the corner unblocked and hit your quarterback from the blind side. It's open up a new can of Roots then.
A new can of Roots?
Yeah.
Okay. Van on the shuttle. And he gets about 12. Good looking play. 41-yard line, which will set up a more manageable third down. Eric Stokes, the free safety, with the tackle.
Oh, the old shovel pass has been good to both teams tonight. Out of the wingback position, out of the slot, a moving Van. There he is right there, doing a pretty good job of making some people miss. Trying to step up and take advantage of an opportunity. I mean, you know, when June Henley was suspended, as a team, you have to treat it like he was injured in pregame warm-up or in the first quarter of a football game, and other people just have to come in and do the job. That's the way you have to look at it.
Farley's on the near side. Roots goes down. That's the end of the play.
Well, as his lineman stepped on his foot, he planted that root in the ground. And it was either the center or right guard stepped on Roots' foot as he was separating from the line of scrimmage, just like driving a nail in his big toe, and down he goes. As you see Roots, the offensive line takes their steps inside, and they just trip up the quarterback, stepping on his feet. Cheap sack right there.
They might have 40 sacks on the year before this game's done. Dean Royal to punt again. He hammered one 56 yards last time. This one not nearly as good. And Kenny Cheatham hauls it in. And he'll get it out to about the 34-yard line. A punt of 34 and a return of 4. 9:45 to go in the third. 49-7 Nebraska. Here is our Power Bar Optimum Performer of the Week, John Hess. Inside linebacker, 3.5 student in psychology. In fact, he already has his degree. And last week, he was the Defensive Player of the Week in the Big 12 Conference. Double figures in tackles, also blocked a punt. Some of the damage he's done tonight against the Jayhawks, getting it done in the classroom and on the football field. Typical of of the Huskers, who through the years have had 49 academic All-Americans, 11 more than Notre Dame, the #2 school on that list.
He also blocked the kick last week, as well as contributing 11 tackles. He loves the game.
Toss sweep, D'Angelo Evans, well defensed, and still it'll take 5 white jerseys to bring him down. Well, the Nebraska offensive front, they go 3 deep at 300 pounds plus at every position, and they're playing a whole lot of folks tonight.
They are, Drew. In the first half, 8 different offensive linemen played. Now, you had Taylor playing center, left guard, and right guard. He played 3 positions. Dishman played left tackle and left guard. Pollock left tackle and left guard. 8 different guys, 3 of them playing more than one position. Deep, talented, what a group.
They are a factory.
Well,
and they hang out where you were hanging out before the game in that weight room.
The pipeline just they keep adding valves to the pipeline and building onto that bad boy. The pipeline goes from coast to coast, I think.
And here's Scott Frost a moment ago. See, everybody wants to get in the act and be a blocker.
Sure. Well, you get all the guys pancaking, folks. Frost says, I'm going to knock somebody down. I'm going to go after you. Well, not too well. He didn't get the pancake. The defender tripped over a teammate, but Scott Frost, it was not really an excuse me block, but it was like, I'm not sure I want to do this. His modeling career's intact, though. No damage to the face. He's a good-looking young man.
Yeah, he kept the helmet out of there.
Yeah, he got the helmet out of there. You know, you can't do everything.
Yeah. Glenn Mason told us an absolutely hilarious story yesterday. He was talking to Milt Teneper, the longtime offensive line coach here in Lincoln, and it was before a game a couple of years ago.
Right.
And they had 9 guys suited up on the offensive line for Kansas that day. 9 guys ready to play, and there was 53 offensive linemen ready to go for Nebraska. And he walked over to a couple of them. He said, Milt, can I talk to him? They said, yeah, sure, go ahead. He goes, you guys are a bunch of dummies. We got 9 guys. You'd be starting for us right now. You're not going to smell the field till maybe you're a senior.
He walked up to one kid wearing number 66. He goes, hey, 66, you blew it. You could be starting for him. The guy's 310 pounds. He's not even on Nebraska's roster. I mean, they had 52 guys. Every one of them weighed 299 or more, you know, and poor Glenn Mason at that time when he came to Kansas, they were struggling to run the football because he didn't have any guys up front, any big people up front. They made a big effort to recruit big folks, but look at them all. It's the Marines. I mean, there's a red wave, tidal wave. Nebraska's got some beef, boy.
This is a QB draw. Scott Frost lost the football. And I think Nebraska's on it, though it's still loose. And Nebraska is on it. 3rd down, and they actually picked up a couple of yards on the fumble.
I think D'Angelo Evans, no, he didn't end up with it, but he fell in Cheatham, I think.
Yeah, Kenny Cheatham jumped on it.
Yeah, he jumped on it. Evans made an attempt at it. This was a design play. You know, the quarterback running the football out of the shotgun and just true pulling from the left tackle spot all the way around to the right, not securing the football well enough for Scott Frost. He was dragged down from behind by a very active nose tackle, Brett McGraw.
And McGraw's played well for KU tonight.
I'll tell you, he's a rodeo guy. He ropes those steers, and I'll tell you, he can bulldog some folks inside. He's a tough customer.
3rd down and 7 for Nebraska. Option. Frost cuts it back, tackled short of the 1st down. From behind, he was hit by number 99, Ron Warner.
You know, the thing that Nebraska does so well, Drew, is they have 10 different offensive sets in this football game. And they keep running all of them and poking and probing and seeing what kind of defensive adjustments you make. And they find out which formations are the most successful to run the option. Which formation is the most successful to run the power game.
They're going to go for it on 4th and 1 at their own 43-yard line. Power eye, D'Angelo Evans didn't get there. Stepping up in the hole was Patrick Brown, a 210-pound sophomore from Westerville, Ohio.
You got flags in the field. I think Kansas may have had too many men. Somebody might have too many men on the field.
Well, that would be a real shame, because this game may be out of reach for Kansas, but they're still playing, as Glenn Mason said they would. That was a terrific play. And you're right, there were too many guys on the field.
Yep, they didn't get the defensive personnel group out there. I think they may have been surprised a little bit that Nebraska was going for it, and they got caught in the Chinese fire drill a little bit.
12 men participated on defense. 15-yard penalty. Previous spot. 1st down.
Well, shouldn't that be allowed, Dave? I mean, the way Nebraska's rolling.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Up. That's good in Canada, but not in the States. You're right, though. I'd let him have 15 guys. I'd say, hey, put the whole sideline out there. It's the only way you stop Nebraska. Glenn Mason, not a happy camper.
So the ball now at the 43 of Kansas. D'Angelo Evans stops and darts ahead for about 5 yards. Another budding star at I-back for the Huskers. How many great ones have they had? It's amazing. Only one Heisman Trophy winner. That was Mike Rozier.
I tell you what, it's just a great program. Watch our fullback, number 45, top of the screen. Bob, boom. That's a pancake. Throw a little syrup on that bad boy, maybe a little powdered sugar, and away we go. I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a hit right there.
New quarterback, Matt Turman, the senior from Wahoo, Nebraska. And he hands to Evans. Whoa. Boy, I like this guy. Inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. You know, Blevins in there defensively.
You know what, Drew? This guy, he slides, he glides. I mean, it doesn't even look like he's running with much effort. It's not real high knee action. Man, he changes direction so quickly. Short, squatty, violent cut guy. And is he a smooth runner? This kid's got a future big time. Looks like he's skating out there. It's almost like he's on skates.
Yeah, that's a good description. It really does look that way. And he's got the balletic moves down as he spins out of the grasp of Chris Jones, number 49.
I'll tell you what, take a look at a tight spin move here. I mean, you're talking about, like you were mentioning, a ballet. I mean, here's a highly conditioned athlete that's a real force. Out in space we go. That's unfair to make a play like that on Chris Jones. D'Angelo Evans is tough. I want to see him do a little plie, arabesque, and pirouette. I want to see it all out there. This guy's got talent. He can do the ballet. He can run the ball. He can do everything.
You know, he's an elusive date. He's hard to hug. Here's the fullback, Mr. Makovica, to the 8-yard line. Saving the touchdown was Michael Allen.
Makovica, he'll block you, he'll run you over. He's a football player. And I'll tell you what, you better pack some thump to bring this guy down. Nice blocking up front, stiff arm, away we go at the linebacker level. You're not going to arm tackle him. You're going to put your helmet across his body like Michael Allen did eventually. Makovica is all football player, a lunch pail guy.
Two tight ends. Turman will run option. Stops, cuts it back, and runs it to Ronnie Ward, and that's the end of that. You know, Joel Makovica, we talked about his brother Jeff. His father John was an NAIA All-American at Kearney State. So football,
important to that family,
yeah,
huh?
real important to that family.
Man, look at these guys. I'm telling you what, they've all been living in that athletic performance room that we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. They got some horses that can move folks off the line of scrimmage.
Turman will run option to the wide side, and he's going to get it to the 3-yard line, and that'll set up a third and goal for Nebraska with 4:35 to go in the third quarter. 49-7. Drew Goodman, Dave Lapham, Lisa Molosky. Matt Turman's a good story.
Yep.
He's another guy that could have gone elsewhere to play. He had quite a high school career in Wahoo. He's a great student, 3.6 in education, two-time member of the academic All-Big 8 team, and of course the Big 12. Could have gone to a lot of Division I AA, Division II schools, and I want to play in Nebraska. And D'Angelo Evans will not get to the end zone. Again, Kansas showing a great deal of pride. Ronnie Ward in there, and also Jason Harris, the cornerback, sticking his nose in there.
Well, you got substitute players up front on both teams, and this time Kansas handles it. Kansas knocks them backwards a little bit. Not a whole lot of surge by the Big Red offensive line up there. That battle of the war was won by the Jayhawks. Unfortunately, too many battles of the war have gone the Cornhusker way.
4th and goal at the 3. Power eye, Evans launches. He didn't get there. The ball is loose. And Kansas able to turn away Nebraska. So measure of respect returned to the Kansas sideline. They did a nice job defensively. 49-7 Huskers, late third quarter. Nebraska leading Kansas. Well, let's flash back for a moment. Do you remember this play? One of the great runs in recent college football history. Tommy Frazier on the option against Florida in last year's Fiesta Bowl. Tackle me if you can. He ended up going the distance as Nebraska rolled for 524 yards on the ground. And Tommy Frazier's with Lisa Molosky.
Thanks, guys. Tommy, I'm finding you here on the sidelines because, as I understand, you are a sideline reporter for radio. I think you're kind of trying to take my job.
No, I'm not trying to take your job. I'm trying to create one for myself.
There you go.
That's something I want to get into this broadcast, so I'm starting off early right now.
Let's take a look at this play and we'll come back to you. Guys, take it for this one.
All right, Lisa, operating from the 6-inch line, Roots. He's going to throw out of the end zone. The out and up to Bird. It is intercepted. 29 on the football for Nebraska is Chevin. Is it Wiggins?
No, it's List.
Yeah, it's got to be List. A different 29.
Right.
Wiggins plays offense.
They got double numbers galore here. 120 guys suited out.
They're into the third and fourth team. Let's go back to Lisa with Tommy Frazier. Lisa?
I'm back here with Tommy Frazier. Tommy, what do you think of the game so far? Boy, I'll tell you, Nebraska's offensive production has been great.
Yes, they made a lot of improvements over last week. You know, they had 5 turnovers, and Coach Osborne really liked that. So today they came out, and now you've seen the real Nebraska offense.
So is it fun to still be on the sideline?
Yeah, it's fun. You know, I need the opportunity just to let my body heal.
There you go. Thanks a lot for joining us, Tommy. Back to you guys.
All right, Damon Benning off the option, gets to the corner. He'll have it to the 10-yard line, a pickup of 15 before Bratton ran him out. I want to tell you something. Tommy Frazier, and this is stating the obvious, but Tommy Frazier was the prototype for this offense. And not only was he a great option quarterback and he threw the ball exceptionally well, he was a terrific leader.
Oh, yeah.
And almost from the moment he walked on campus from Bradenton, Florida.
This kid made great decisions. I mean, he always got him in a great play, audibilized 60% of the time at the line of scrimmage.
Up the middle, Benning, shaken free, touchdown Huskers.
Boy, 2 carries for Benning in the end zone. Josh Cobb had a great block at the fullback position on both plays. And they got fullbacks about 7 deep here at Nebraska. Great tradition of fullbacks. You know, the thing that impressed me about Tommy Frazier, Drew, you shake his hand, he's got big hands for his body size. He controlled that football, throwing it, and then the option so well. Just a very, very gifted athlete. Look at the muckers on him as he holds that microphone.
Yeah.
He's got a mitt on him. I tell you, and he can really get it done with those big hands.
Ted Retzlaff in there to kick as they are on to the number 2 kicker here tonight. It is 56-7. Yesterday, in a conversation with Tom Osborne, we asked him what Saturdays are all about. Game day in Lincoln, Nebraska.
The fact that we have no pro football here, we have only one major university, and there's a long-standing tradition has led to a tremendous amount of interest in football. And as a result, you know, there's a certain anticipation, a certain amount of electricity revolving around Nebraska football on a game day, and that's gratifying. And yet at the same time, it's a little disconcerting because you know, it seems like you're always in a goldfish bowl and almost year-round, and I guess it's better to be that way than to have apathy.
It is the only show in town, and Dave, I think if Mike Helling, our producer, Kevin Shank, our director, and I dressed up in an opponent's uniform, they might show up and suit up this whole stadium.
I'm telling you.
Doesn't matter. They will come. And they're about to make it 34 games, or maybe I'm exaggerating just a little bit.
They are. They're about to make it 34 straight home games won. Drew, that'll set a new school record. They were tied for 10th in NCAA history with 33 straight, so that'll move them up in that area. Conference games, this will make them 25-0 at home in conference games over the last 4 years. And amazingly, over the last 9 years, this will make them 55-2.
The only two teams,
unbelievable.
Yeah, the only two teams to win here, Washington in '91 and Colorado in 1990. And the interesting thing about that is that Washington in '91 a share of the national title,
right.
Colorado in 1990 a share of the national title. So you have to have some great stuff to come into Lincoln and win.
Well, this will make them, with tonight's victory, and it, it certainly looks like that's going to be the case, 56-7. It'll make them 42 wins, 2 defeats over the last 4 years. I mean, you can go on and on and on. The numbers, Coach Tom Osborne has never had fewer than 9 wins in any season. He's averaged 10 wins a season in his glorious career. Incredible.
Isaac Bird, he's still playing. And he makes the catch in front of Peterson.
Maybe a face mask? Face mask as he brought him to the turf. That'll be
take on a few more yards.
Probably the 5-yard variety. It's 5 yards or 15 yards, depending on if the official felt that he grabbed and didn't let go. But I'll tell you what, this young man, he's going to have
Inadvertent face mask, 5-yard penalty, into the run, first down, Kansas.
You tackle up by the head, and that's what can happen to you. And Peterson gets caught, he gets tagged, but you have to tackle a little bit lower than that. But Bird, you have a two-way go. You can choose Major League Baseball or the National Football League. That guy's going to be making some money here pretty soon. It was a good decision to go to Kansas and play both sports.
And again, he had a very nice rookie year in baseball, played only 23 games. You mentioned he had 275 earlier. Obviously a great speed guy,
right,
which is advantageous on the baseball diamond.
Well, he played center field, and of course a definite threat on the base pass. I mean, that's the first thing they look for in baseball. One of the 2 things they look for: throwing arm and foot speed. And tell you what, Bird can do it.
You know who else a two-way player, two-sport guy? Eric Van,
right,
the tailback.
Right. He hit about 230 at Kansas, though.
That's got to come up.
Yeah.
Roots, all kinds of time, and he guns it, and it's nearly intercepted. Jerome Peterson had a better chance at catching that than his intended target, Michael Chandler.
Roots is having a good time out there, though. You can look at the expression on his face. He's getting reacquainted with a lot of teammates. I mean, he was here, started his career, as we mentioned, at Nebraska. He knows a lot of these guys on this football team, so they got a few things to say to each other as they separate after a play, get back to the line of scrimmage. And this kid, Roots, he has a quick release. He gets rid of the football very well, and a little bit of mobility has been taken away from him due to surgeries on both knees, but he's a leader and seems to be able to move his team pretty well. Knows what's going on out there.
3rd down and 8. He'll roll the pocket. Pressure coming. It's intercepted and dropped. List almost had number 2.
Yep.
And he would have been in the end zone.
But he's listless. Right there, he just couldn't hang on.
I knew you were going to do that.
He went from superhero to, oh, man. You talk about golden goalposts. Right there, he's saying, I got a touchdown. He looked it in, just didn't squeeze it. List is very upset right now. Roots got drilled, too, after he released that football. He paid the price.
Dean Royal. Another punt. This one gets up in the wind and turns over. Wiggins back to the 15-yard line. And he is spilled at about the 19-yard line. Coming down, J.J. Johnson covering. Well, if you're wondering where Nebraska ranks in terms of national championships, they have 4 after winning the last 2. They won back-to-back years in 70 and 71. The Irish own 8. Bear Bryant, the late Bear Bryant, with 5 at Alabama. And as a conference,
yes,
this new one.
This is the Big 12.
And I'll tell you, we were talking to Steve Hatchell, the commissioner of the Big 12, before the ball game tonight. And as this conference unfolds over the years, you're going to have an extraordinary football team to go unbeaten through this conference.
You really are.
Benning, makes his way for about 4 or 5 yards. Spilled by Jason Harris. We should point out, with 1:02 to go in the third quarter and the clock moving, a one-sided game, 56-7 in favor of Nebraska. They're not beaten up on chopped liver. This is not the Kansas Jayhawks of 10 years ago. This is a team that won 10 football games and finished in the top 10 in the nation last year. They came in the preseason ranked number 24.
Right.
And that is just how good Nebraska is. They can make a fine football team look very, very average.
They've got a lot of people. They've got so much more depth at every position. And you play them at home, and it's even tougher.
Benning keeps the football. They gave it to him and faked a reverse.
You know, you're right about Kansas, though, Drew. They came in 3-3 with a +12 turnover ratio. Very easily could have been 5-1. You know, gave up some big plays early against Utah. Came back to take the lead. Utah drove to score them late to beat them in that football game. Didn't play well against Texas Tech, but gave Colorado a good go defensively. They couldn't move the ball that well against Kansas. Just couldn't take advantage of opportunities. But Nebraska kind of taking them apart tonight.
Tom Osborne wanted that snap to happen before the quarter ended. It did not. 3 quarters done in Lincoln. Yes, indeed, it is the home of the defending national champions, and they're having their way with Kansas, 56-7.
If there's lots of
through 3 quarters, 56-7 Nebraska. And right now they have a 3rd down and 4. Turman throws and wide of his target as he tried to get it to Sean Whiting, as we are now seeing 3rd, 4th, and maybe even 5th team players for Nebraska. They're over 500 yards unofficially in total offense. Their high water mark this year, 669 against Baylor. So they'll have to punt the football with Dave Lapham and Lisa Molosky. I'm Drew Goodman, and the Huskers from the opening snap of this game, Dave, had it together.
Well, they were in the red zone 7 times, Drew, 8 times, scored 7 of them. The only time they didn't was the last possession. They went for it on 4th down and really just ran a dive and said, Kansas, if you can stop us, you get the ball. They didn't go for the field goal. I think that's a good move.
Jesse Cush, line drive, turned it over to the 25-yard line is Isaac Bird. And nowhere to run. He loses the football and he gets it back. That's John Hess running under another punt.
Man, Bird was caged there. Unbelievable.
Punt of 50. And we'll step aside again. 14:43 to go in the 4th quarter.
Back to Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm Lisa Molosky. In the 4th quarter, Nebraska 56-7. I am here on the sideline. This is where I stand and watch the game. But look what I've discovered. I found all these people underneath the stadium, and I found out they all have tickets up in the stadium, but they come here to field level. And I gotta know, guys, why do you come underneath and look through this fence the entire game?
Lisa, we get the better angle from down here.
Better angle? And you can kind of feel the roar of the crowd and hear the guys.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Look at, they've got cables and fences, and I'm telling you, this is something else. These guys will do anything to get near the game. Back to you, Drew, Dave.
And Lisa, they're standing under a sign that says Georgians for Nebraska. That isn't an election. That's not an election slogan. That's folks who come up from Georgia every week to visit Lincoln and support the Huskers.
And Drew, you know what? I just happened to wear the right color for this game. These people love it.
You did. We did notice that. We thought you were rather gutless wearing red
I'm
today.
telling you, right?
You know what? I think chocolate shakes for all those guys under those stands.
That's right. Van into the hole, gets a couple more. It'll set up a 3rd down and 4. And what's the view from inside the fence?
Oh, yeah.
It's not great.
Boy, those high punts and high passes, it's hard to get a good view of those bad boys. Man, you know what, though? You feel like you're part of the action. I mean, you're right there. Lisa's saying hello to her fans. Yes.
Well, you know what? I worry about those guys. You know, they come down, they have a nice seat up high. They come down to watch beneath the field level. Those are the guys in high school who used to hide under the stairs.
That's right. That's right. I thought they might have snuck in and they were still hiding from the authorities.
Roots goes to Sanders out of the backfield, and he'll have the first down to the 38-yard line, and it's a rare first down for Kansas, unfortunately for them in this football game. He'll have to regroup next week. It'll be Iowa State in Ames, Iowa, and he'll get a chance to tackle Troy Davis as we check the Dr. Pepper roundup. Ohio State got a game from Iowa, but they pull away and win. Florida State 31-24. ASU no problem with Stanford. Alabama loses in Knoxville. First time in a while that the Crimson Tide could not win in Knoxville. And Van ran into a van. Julius Jackson.
You know, Julius Jackson is a freshman, and at the weight room, he is one of, I think it's about 7 players that are allowed to use a platform based on record weightlifting that produce point totals on lifts. This kid is a freshman, put together, huge future. We showed a little glimpse of it right there. What an athlete.
Roots out of the gun. 2nd and 13. Roots throws it behind Andre Carter. He was pretty well covered by Mike Brown, setting up a 3rd down. Is there a team in the country that is more efficient in what they do on both sides of the football schematically than Nebraska, Dave?
I'd really have to struggle. I think Florida has stepped up defensively. I think Bob Stoops has done a good job down there in terms of trying to get with this press. Load the box up and press with your corners. But Nebraska made that adjustment after struggling in the bowl games against the teams from Florida, running that 4-3 defense with all those fast linebackers. And I'll tell you what, they are a load on both sides of the ball.
Roots, good throw to Van, who lined up in the slot, crosses midfield to the 45-yard line. Good throw and catch, and Greg List with the tackle. Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator, and really a charismatic guy for Nebraska, told us something very interesting yesterday. There's a Kansas player down way back at the 25-yard line.
I think it's a big lineman down there, but there's Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie told us, he said, this might sound strange, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world that we lost this year and lost to Arizona State. And that's not to take anything away from Arizona State. They played a great football game and they deserved to win. He said, but at some point we had to lose and maybe bring everybody back down to the ground.
Right. Glasgow working his way off the football field right here. But Drew, I agree with you. It was a reality check. The fans, the players, the community. Everybody had to realize that you don't have an S on your chest. You're human beings, and at some point in time you're going to be beaten. I think they were a little bit disturbed by how they were beaten out there, but they weren't they weren't really decimated by the loss. They knew it was going to happen at some point.
And we talked to Tom Osborne yesterday about how his team has rebounded from the loss to the Sun Devils.
What I want to do is to go around pointing the finger, browbeating your football team, tearing them down. I think that there's enough of a confidence loss. There's enough of a self-image damage control that has to be undertaken that you don't want to just totally destroy them. And so we tried to take a positive attitude toward it, and they came back and played, I think, 3 or 4 very good football games after losing to Arizona State.
They'll make it 4 or 5 very good football games.
I'll tell you what, they showed resiliency, and that's the fiber of a champion right there. A little bit of character as a football team, and they weren't going to be down long. Tom Osborne has got a bunch of assistants that have been here for 20 years or more, and they're patient. They do the same things.
Galbraith giddy-ups through the hole, gets about 4 yards. Enough for a first down for the Jayhawks.
This defensive football team, a lot of substitutions like you're talking about, Drew, and the key is that last year they gave up a lot of points when third-team players came into the game. Charlie McBride, very proud of the guys that mop these games up because they've been shutting people down as well, not giving up a whole lot of points. This football team now, they're into their 24th quarter without giving up a touchdown rushing. Now, they gave up a touchdown passing tonight, but 24 quarters, 6 games without a touchdown on the ground. That's big time.
Roots, 4-man rush.
Pickett.
And that's up for grabs. Mike Brown has it. And he's got an escort on the far sideline. Across midfield to the 47. They run at you in waves. A 44-yard return for Brown. And to embellish the point you just made, Tom Osborne told us that they can go 3 deep at every position with guys who are ready and prepared to play on Saturday.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they practice so efficiently, and once again, it's because of that walk-on program, Drew. You know, they travel 66 players. A third of them, 22 guys, were walk-ons at some point in their career, and it just makes them practice so darn efficiently. They all get good reps.
Turman stays in at quarterback. And this is about a 9-yard gain. And got to look on the depth chart because there's a new guy in there by the name of James Sims as they go to the 4th team tailback.
Well, pick up almost a first down on first down in that situation, 9 yards. They're averaging over 10 yards every first down. That's the 33rd first down snap they've run. They're averaging about 10 yards per snap on first down. That's big time. Kansas is averaging about half of that, 5 yards per snap on first down. And really the reason for that, 77-yard play to Bird on first down.
They go fullback, and Josh Cobb will have first down. And got to be a lot of tired bodies physically and emotionally on the Kansas sideline. Anytime you play Nebraska, you want to give it your best shot, chance to knock off the national champions, a tradition-rich program. And Kansas just did not have enough guns tonight.
Well, you know, and that's another thing about Nebraska, Drew. I think you make a great point. Everybody gives it their best effort. In Nebraska, they've won back-to-back national championships. Now, if the field goal against Florida State was true, instead of going off wide, they'd already have 3 straight national championships going for 4. So one field goal where they lose that game, they would have 3 in a row right now. That's incredible. And you know, there's no ladder a seat at the top of the ladder of success. Look at the numbers that Coach Osborne continues to put up. Everybody's taking your best shot. They continue to win. They sustain it. They've been consistently excellent, and that's a big key.
Sims runs it wide, and jumping on his shoulders was Mitch Bowles. Bowles, a redshirt freshman from Las Vegas. Kansas has been able to recruit much better the last few years. Not only have they had far more success, they've had winning seasons in 4 of their last 5 years, been to a couple of bowl games, beat up UCLA last year in the Aloha Bowl.
Sure did.
But when Glenn Mason sits in your living room, not only do you listen, but you're going to smile and you're going to feel good about what they're doing in Lawrence, Kansas. And he is starting to win plenty of recruiting battles. Second down and 6. Turman goes underneath. With the football is number 81, Aaron Wills. Michael Allen brings him down finally. Another first down for the Huskers. And you know what? They never leave. Even though this game's over, no one has left. There's still 75,000 here.
The only game in town. Wells, the tight end. Watch what he does here, Drew. He's at the end of the line of scrimmage. He gets lost here blocking a little bit and then releases out into his pattern late. Kansas doesn't make the adjustment. Look, he blocks. The linebackers lose track of him. Now he leaks out late. And everybody's backdropped into their zones, and he's wide open underneath. Great scheme, well executed.
Sims on the option. Sims, a stiff arm, gets it to the 5-yard line. He nearly took that in.
You know, what you mentioned about Glenn Mason, though, I can't agree more. I mean, this guy is somebody that you want to play football for. And, you know, he mentioned, just the deal with June Henley it's a tough thing. But he says he's going to treat his football players like he treats his own kids. He's got teenage children. He's got college-age students. And he's going to be consistent. Sometimes you have to punish him. Sometimes you have to defend him. He felt like he had to punish June Henley this time.
That's a touchdown for Nebraska. Josh Cobb bouncing off people.
Another
Gets in
fullback.
the end zone.
Another fullback.
Just keep lining them up. Wow. Cobb, 230-pound sophomore from Wallace, Nebraska. You think he couldn't have been somewhere else?
Sure. I mean, he probably had about half a dozen options. Maybe not all Division I, Division I AA, Division II, but he wanted to play here and do this in front of these Husker fans that just go crazy for football. I mean, it's a thrill. His hair standing up on the back of his neck.
Retzlaff pumps it through. The Huskers into the 60s. 63-7 with 8:37 to play in Lincoln. Josh Cobb, first touchdown of the year, and you know what? He's going to remember that for a long, long time.
Look at the whole team congratulating him. It's a family over there.
Tough night for Glenn Mason.
Great night for Cobb, though. He'll never, ever forget this. His first touchdown in his college football career at home.
Kick hauled in by Eric Van, and he'll get it across the 20, dropped at the 23-yard line. We asked Glenn Mason, why choose Kansas? Here is his response.
Let's face it, what do we have to offer? We don't have a mountain to show them. We sure don't have an ocean. The closest ocean is over 2,000 miles away. And the weather doesn't always cooperate in January when recruiting. But what we do have to sell is something that has quality. We can offer a total college experience. We can offer a great quality education that cannot be surpassed any place. We can offer a winning football program that's done the right way. We don't break any rules. We make all decisions with the student athlete foremost in our mind. And we can offer an honest-to-goodness, great, wholesome college experience. I think the University of Kansas, what Marion College is all about.
He's absolutely right. That is what college is all about. If you've ever been to Lawrence, Kansas, that's a beautiful town, a great college town. And
oh, yeah.
Not only do you have a winning football program now, perennially one of the best basketball programs in the nation. And there's two guys probably upset more than any other Jayhawk fans this night, and that's our friends in the truck.
Yes.
Producer Mike Helling and director Kevin Schenk.
Rock Chalk guys.
Yeah, Rock Chalk Jayhawk guys. That's Julius Bruce, who takes a lick after getting back to the line of scrimmage, so it'll be third down and about 8.
And the guy who delivered the hit is hurting. I think that's Blahak. Chad Blahak. And I tell you that Glenn Mason, though, if he comes into your kitchen, sits down at the kitchen table with you and your parents, the guy can sell Kansas. He can sell anything, really. Yeah. I mean, he's a charismatic guy that he could sell you anything in the world. And there's no doubt that he and his coaching staff, when recruits come on campus, he's gonna really make you think about going to that university, because that Lawrence, everything revolves around the football and basketball programs there at Kansas. I mean, it's a big time thing. Of course, you live in a fishbowl. June Hilling can tell you all about that. But there's the thing about college football today, Drew. You know, these guys are experiencing a great thing tonight. I mean, very few college students have an opportunity to do what these guys are doing tonight. But they do not have an opportunity at the college life, the normal college life that John Q. student does at every major institution. I mean, when they make a mistake,
it is magnified.
Oh, it's magnified 100-fold. And that's the nature of the beast. There's pros and cons to it.
And you know what? Similar to his counterpart, Tom Osborne, these guys really care, honestly care about their kids. In fact, Glenn Mason carries a beeper with him.
Right.
It's for his kids, it's for his friends, and he gives out the number. It's an 800 number. He says, I don't care if you're in Kansas City, which is about an hour from Lawrence. He said, if you've had one too many or you have a problem, you call me. I don't care what time of day it is.
And Mike Helling and Kevin Schenk have that beeper number.
Do they need it? Isaac Bird couldn't hold on to that one, a little bit behind him. And Kansas Kansas will have to punt the football to Nebraska with 7:22 to go. See, those guys are driving back home tonight,
right?
And they want to see if they can
what the heck?
hitchhike on the KU bus.
Grab it.
Will leave shortly after the game.
You know, that's Kansas State has turned that program around. Glenn Mason has also turned Kansas around. That's tough. Two schools competing for athletes in the same state. That's tough. There's no state university here at Nebraska, other than Nebraska.
Lance Brown caught it, and he's a gutsy guy. Didn't call a fair catch. 39-yard punt. A whole lot of white jerseys around him, but Brown holds on. 120 Huskers dressed this evening. Next up for Nebraska, they'll travel to Norman to take on a rejuvenated Oklahoma Sooner team.
Yeah, 2-2 in the conference play.
5 yards, kick catch interference, first down Nebraska.
That was the amazing thing about the way they started under first-year coach John Blake. That the cupboard's not bare in Norman. There's still some pretty fine football players. John Blake's got them turned around. 63-7 Huskers. 63-7 over Kansas. And another new quarterback. It's Jeff Perino, a redshirt freshman from Durango, Colorado. Big strong kid, 6'2", 210, good athlete. Here's Sims slipping a few tackles. And for the storyline on this game, we go downstairs to Lisa Molosky. Lisa.
Hey guys, still a great night down here. It is time now for our Southwest Airlines storyline. Nebraska defense dominating as expected. Nebraska has allowed only 1 touchdown in the last 18 quarters. In total offense, take a look at those numbers. Nebraska 547 yards, Kansas 202. Ooh. Nebraska dominating, guys.
Man, I'd say so. D'Angelo Evans back in there, and he's hit almost immediately. As soon as this young guy gets up, we'll be able to tell you who it is. It's Steve Bratton, another Colorado kid. He's from Arvada, Colorado.
Yes, I'll tell you, this gentleman, I'm sure, that's probably his 150,000th consecutive Nebraska Cornhusker game. And
I guarantee he was a season ticket holder in 70 and 71 when they won national championships.
No question about it. Yeah, he's like Tom Osborne. You can't tell that he's up 63-7. I guess he wants to hang 100 on him.
Damon Benning, one of the captains for the Huskers. And he has it inside the 40. Good first down carry. Tyrus Fontenot, redshirt freshman from Houston, will be credited with the stop.
A couple of streaks continued tonight, Drew. The Nebraska Cornhuskers. Look at the first down differential. Boy, that speaks volumes.
32 first downs. That's a pretty good season.
That's moving it. Nebraska, the 35th straight game, they accumulated at least 1 quarterback sack defensively. And that's a pretty amazing stat right there.
They go fullback, and now it's Ben Kingston's turn. See if he can get a big smile on his face like Cobb.
And for Kansas, a couple of things stayed alive for them. They have a takeaway in 15 straight games now. 21 of their last 23 games, they've taken the ball away at least 1 time from the opposition. You know, if they lose tonight, though, it'll be 3 straight losses. They haven't lost 3 straight football games since 1992. That goes to show you what Glenn Mason has gotten done here. You know, they really turned things around pretty well at Kansas.
Here's Sims hurtling his way to the 28-yard line. It's not like these 3rd, 4th, and 5th team guys are devoid of athletic ability.
Yeah, they were all state in their respective states where they play. You know, they're at least all league, all county, all whatever. You know, and it's amazing. I mean, there are high school All-Americans sprinkled throughout this roster at Nebraska. You get down to the 3rd team, well, maybe you weren't a high school All-American, but you were certainly all league or all county. There's no doubt about it.
And again, if you grow up in Nebraska, you want to play here in Lincoln, even if it's just to run out of the tunnel. 23, new eye back in there is Chad Eicher.
You know, I've played with former Nebraska Cornhusker players and Jim Scow, Dave Remington, a couple of examples. They really talk about this place, true fondness. I mean, you know, it's a family. There's a real love for each other here, and they're loyal to each other. And Dr. Tom Osborne has a dramatic effect on these young athletes. They really do. And they've got memories they'll never, ever forget playing in front of all these fans here in Lincoln, Nebraska.
They go fullback in Kingston. Drop by Taurus Fontenot. Pretty good play there.
No quitting those Hawks, though. No quitting those Jayhawks. And that's one thing Glenn Mason mentioned. We're going to play every snap in the second half. And look at these guys. They're still separating from blocks, thumping people around a little bit. Fontenot makes a good play. Pride is the first building block of the foundation you put down, and Glenn Mason's done that with his football team.
Hey, Dave, I know you've waited all weekend to say this. Guess who's in the football game at quarterback?
Who's in the game?
The Count
of Monte Cristo.
Monte Cristo. And he was toss sweep to Raymond. I mean, folks, we are really deep on the depth chart right now.
Yes.
Raymond is not even on the roster.
I think Cristo should go on a quick count of Monte Cristo. He should go on that first sound up there.
It is 4th down and 1. Mercifully, there's about 3 minutes left in the football game.
Yes.
Timeout. Frankie London's now at quarterback. Everybody's playing. Is this, let me count this up. This is the 5th quarterback used by Nebraska tonight, and they like this kid a lot. They think Frankie London is going to be a heck of a player. He's a freshman from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Good pocket presence as a thrower, and he can really run the option as if they didn't have enough. Bar player of the game, is there a question? Scott Frost, 12 of 16 in the air, 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 2 more.
And he probably ran for over 50 yards. I mean, he had over 300 total yards offense, and man, he was accurate through 12 of 16. That's Joe Montana-like. Giving him a little autograph action going on there.
He's a good kid who's had to deal with some adversity so far this year, especially after that Arizona State loss. And you know, last week he was 4 of 12 against Texas Tech. Really didn't have a huge game. There's a first down carry.
You know, that just shows you something about human nature, though. After the Arizona State game, there was nobody looking for his autograph. You're a hero tonight against Kansas, and they flock you. I mean, everybody loves the winner. They'll walk down the sidewalk with you arm in arm. If you're a loser, though, they get on the other sidewalk and walk on the other side of the street to get away from you like you're a leper.
You know, Dave Olness just carried the football. Can't tell you his first name. He's not listed anywhere. He's about the 7th-team fullback, and nobody blows an assignment. I mean, they're still knocking people off the ball. Very efficient.
Because they practice so well, Drew. I mean, they split the assistant coaches up. They have 2 sets of offenses and 2 sets of defenses thumping on each other all day long. And they all get quality reps. They know how to execute offensively and defensively. They're well coached. It's a machine. It's a well-oiled machine here in Nebraska.
I wonder if everybody in that huddle knows each other's names. This is Kingston.
Here we go, another wave hitting the beach.
It's absolutely extraordinary. And it is also, I mean, we're making light of it here and having a good time with it. But honestly, it's one of the reasons that Nebraska has won 2 straight national championships. Their walk-on program, the depth that they have, especially now at the scholarship limit at 85 as opposed to a few years back when it was a 95 scholarship limit.
You get 85 walk-ons a year.
Yeah.
You know what? This is the 11th time Nebraska has been in the red zone. Now, they've scored 9 times. They've got 63 points. And here come another couple. Holy mackerel. They're taking them out of the stands and throwing equipment on them.
Hi,
they're everywhere.
Hi, my name's Ronnie. I'm a fullback.
They're growing. They're watering the turf, and they're springing up from the turf. I mean, they're everywhere. It's unbelievable. Check this dude out. Check that dude. Man, oh, man. Pre-game meal big.
He hasn't missed too many meals.
This is a quality program here now.
Everything's a fullback give. Kingston so close to getting in the end zone, and Bratton grabbed him.
Man.
Tom Osborne is literally running the same play. It's a fullback give.
And here comes another crew.
He is not trying to run it up on Kansas. Big 12 Conference football is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. And by Southwest Airlines with low fares on every flight, every seat, every day. 63-7, and Nebraska turns it over on downs. And Kansas will have the last couple of snaps. And they, too, have a new quarterback. They brought in Hamilton Hill, who's a sophomore from Wichita. There's Hamilton.
Boy, Nebraska, I don't know how many rushing touchdowns tonight they had, but they haven't given up one. So they've only given up one rushing touchdown. They've got at least 23. I think they had at least 3 rushing touchdowns tonight. Frost had a couple. Benning had one. I'm trying to remember. 6 rushing touchdowns tonight and 3 passing. Okay, they got 26 touchdowns rushing. They've only given up 1. That is incredulous.
They've only given up 7 touchdowns all year, period.
What?
And it continues to be frightening, the numbers. There's Julius Bruce. He's a sophomore from Olathe. And that, in all probability, since I don't think Kansas is going to stop the clock, will be all. It was impressive on both sides of the ball. And, folks, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
They'll be in the championship hunt. It's going to happen.
63-7.
You know what? You think about when Nebraska lost to Florida State when they didn't hit the field goal. Florida State lost very late in that season to Miami. They beat Nebraska. They still won the national championship with a loss late in the year. When Tom Osborne lost to Miami, going for 2. Miami had a loss that year. They still won the national championship. Nebraska is not out of the national championship hunt by any stretch of the imagination.
No, they're not out of it yet. Circle November 29th on the calendar. Colorado visits Lincoln. And let's go down to Lisa Molosky, who's with the winning head coach. Lisa.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations. I think you really made a statement tonight. You're looking good.
Well, we played well. Played well both sides of the ball. Kicking game was good. Got a lot of players in the game. That always kind of helps morale. So we're pleased.
I think everybody here in Nebraska is pleased. This sea of red is very impressive, Coach.
Yeah, we have great fans, and not very many places you stay to the end of the game when it scores like that, but they do here.
They certainly do. Thanks for stopping. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, back to you guys.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. It was impressive on both sides of the ball. 63-7 for our entire Fox Sports crew. Lisa Molosky and Dave Lapham. I'm Drew Goodman saying so long from Lincoln, Nebraska.